You've been speaking of details of classified investigations, the faceless, the archivists, etc., in front of parties that should not necessarily be privy to that information, whether you trust them or not. Specifically, and also including people have started asking me, have advised that you've told them about the classification levels that we're bringing forward, asking me when and how they're going to get their classification clearance, their clearance levels, etc. I've had the entirety of basically what it's going to be explained to me when that's not been released to anybody outside of SASM yet.
Sorry.
Yeah, so just want to get an understanding of what all's been going on there.
I'm not quite sure. Could you please continue?
I mean, that's kind of the brunt of basically what I've been hearing is people are hearing you talking about these investigations around these people, and like I said, specifically in terms of information that should not be public, that they should not even know, is the classification levels and the fact that that's coming, and people asking about getting their clearance levels and all that. Is that something you've been talking to people about?
I'm not quite sure as to what that could be referencing. Over the past 24 hours, I really haven't been on duty all that much. So if this is anything to
This will be over the last couple
past
days, not just necessarily in the last 24 hours.
I'm not quite sure.
Okay. What about
I would love to shed more light on it.
archivists, that kind of investigations? Have you been talking about that around other officers?
Archivists, that was explicitly talked about when I was brought into meetings about it. I shed light on certain pieces of the archivists as was needed. Such as, like, you know, for example, when they took over the meeting board, I informed officers as to the scope of what they could and couldn't do based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
When Pred specifically asked me about information to do with that, I let him know on that. I don't believe that there is anything on the archivist's investigation that was inherently classified. Initially, we were classifying bits of information, but as per Gunnar and what Brian later told me, that was no longer classified, so I was free to hand off whatever I had. Faceless stuff. I know I did make a mistake a little while ago in telling V. During the, I think it was the Brandon Valentino interrogation. But by that point, I was under the impression that the tablet was already public knowledge, as it had been mentioned in several other facets. Was there anything else?
Wait,
what about conversations in front of Yui?
Conversations in front of
comments
Yui?
of like, I can talk about this, it's okay, I trust Yui. About these same investigations and talking about details beyond just
I'm not
level.
particularly sure as to what you're referring to on that one. Like, I know I was discussing. Okay, so there was one report. So when Brian asked me to transfer the SOPs, at one point when I was putting them into the various categories, I accidentally hit like reports instead of you know, state marshal reports. That was one mistake I made, but I immediately rectified it. I'm not
this
quite
isn't really
sure
MBT
what else
stuff.
you could
It's
be,
more just like word of mouth discussions, talking about it. I'll be completely honest and straightforward with you. The officer, the exact words of the officers were, McCallister has a big mouth and it's not good now that he has access to big boy information.
I understand that, yeah. I haven't talked to Yui in like 3 or 4 days. I let Yui know the information to do with what was it? It was the Bolingbroke response unit stuff that Dakota had sent me. I know Yui was taking photos of me up here at the observatory because Yui we want to discuss warden matters, but I don't particularly remember as to what occurred in those conversations. If you could shed some light on what was potentially leaked, I could give you the scope of that, but I don't particularly know at this time. It's not that I'm inherently trying to hide anything. I'm just, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you mean we told someone about the tablet? Are we talking about crystal ball right now?
Yes.
So here is where I'm at.
So, sorry. Continue.
Why did you make that decision? I want to understand your logic.
So, under the state marshals of old, certain pieces of information have been declassified as per Gunner Kane, as per, older marshals, them investigating things and telling people things. I was under the
when was the
impression...
crystal ball declassified?
So, I believe that when the initial raids took place, there were 2 raids in total. There was one to do with the chip that was obtained from Wyatt Jones himself. That specific raid, I believe I had a chat with the justices about, because they weren't even sure if things from that particular raid could be used, because they weren't sure if the raid itself should have gone through. Apparently, DOA search warrants are a bit iffy sometimes, as per the DOJ.
When did you mention the crystal ball to B?
Sorry?
When did you bring
B?
up the crystal
So,
ball to
do you
B?
remember it was in front of you?
Okay.
It was during the Brandon Valentino interrogation. I specifically said, does he have a tablet on him? If so, that is an item of interest. V then asked, I said, sometimes they can use their tablets to communicate. That is all that was said. I believe that there was another instance of someone specifically questioning me about it at the food court. I did not say that we had a chip in our possession, but they specifically inferred to us having a chip and us having a password. I had a conversation about this with Gunner at the time.
An officer or civilian?
No, it was a I think. Sorry, let me think back. It was someone who was a sibling of someone else. It was someone who was a sibling of Seamus McCarthy. She specifically approached me and said that she had information to do with the murder of Wyatt Jones. I think I filled Brandon on this a while ago, and I filled Gunner on this one a while ago. She specifically asked us if we had the password. I didn't give her any information in that regard. She seemed to really want to get that information from me, but I didn't give her anything. But she inferred to us having the chip in the tablet.
I'm sorry. I've been up for 12 and a half hours. What did you tell V?
V, as I said, I told V about how they used the tablet to communicate, because I was under the impression that was already public knowledge. I was under the impression that was already in the paper. Furthermore, the PD had taken part in that raid in which the chip itself was seized.
Okay, but what does that have to do with the crystal ball?
Radio check.
So as I said, while we were interrogating Brandon Valentino, I mentioned that as an item of interest. So if they have any tablets on them, they could potentially be seized. That's why UV and I had that conversation.
The crystal ball is what's in there, right?
Yes.
That's a very specific one. Did you mention that?
I don't think so, but even if I did, people already know that we have that. I believe. At least from what Gunner and a few other people have told me.
That people know we have it?
It's not like a widespread piece of knowledge, but certain individuals do know that we have it, yes.
Give us just a second.
Yeah,
for the time being, could you give me your key to the observatory?
Oh, yeah, you're all good.
Awesome. All right.
Here, Brian.
Okay. Let me see if Chris is where Chris is.
He should be just down the stairs over there.
He's
He's
migrating the crystal ball.
Okay.
We don't have any way to sort that out, right? So I told him evidence locker with a code pad on it. You know what I mean? Better safe than sorry. I don't know him enough to know. whether you
Yeah.
know. He shouldn't have access. I put access removed on it. I don't know. That should solve it. So I think at minimum we need a suspension here. He doesn't
Yeah,
even know what
at
he's
least-
doing.
Yeah, there isn't in this particular, at least from what I was told, other than the classification system, which is not, you know, it should not have been released, but it's not the end of the world. It's not like a threat to anything that it was. That is
Yeah.
ultimately going to be made known to the officers anyway.
Now I want to provide some. There's an issue here clearly. I think, and we've been seeing this for a minute. I mean, that's why I had to talk to, like, even, you know what? Let's wait for, there he is. Let's wait for Chris. And I want you to just kind of like retell, what you came across, and then we'll sort of unpack from there.
I was informed by an officer that the exact words were, McCallister has a big mouth and it's not good now that he has access to big boy information. And I said, I'm going to unpack that a little bit. What the hell are you talking about? And I got told that he's been talking about Faithless investigation, the Archivist investigation, pretty much everything he's working on. He's got all this shit on his plate and just kind of spewing off about details about these things in front of people.
Oh, I believe it.
That should not have access to this.
Did they use the phrase, he's saying he's got all this stuff on his plate?
Yes.
Okay. He's used that phraseology.
Okay.
Minimum 1 week suspension. Pull all his shit. He's, look, Luca, how did the describe how the relapse to Blunt?
I would say after the conversation that we had last night with him, he seemed humbled up. He seemed like he understood what Brian and I were talking about and everything. And then we came over here and we were talking on the railing earlier. And we were all chatting, and if out of the blue, I started hearing that same kind of attitude come back. And he mentioned, he goes, "Oh yeah, Gunner gave me a top secret book," and then just like doesn't follow that up, doesn't say like, "Here, let me give it to you, let's talk about it, I'll tell you what's in it." Just, "Oh yeah, Gunner gave me a top secret book."
I don't think he's prepared to be in the marshals.
Yeah.
He that's flag 1. Flag 2, he does have a big mouth, and the phraseology you just used, Blunt, I've got too much on his plate. I've already heard him say that to us, and therefore the credibility of said individual that brought it up is, in my eyes, accurate.
The person that brought it to me, I trust implicitly. More than 99.9% of the city. This is
right. They wouldn't just make it up.
No, this person is not a drama frog and is on my emergency contacts list.
I mean, he didn't deny it either, that he did that, and 2, even in this conversation, speaking to the 3 of us, it still didn't seem like it was setting in how important what he's talking about is, and why we would not want anybody to even get really a sniff of its existence for any reason. It doesn't benefit. Yeah, I don't know.
I think there's guidance to be had there. I don't know to what extent, but like any discussion about anything that we do, unless there's a reason to be looping in one of those folks or that they're tied into the investigation, it shouldn't be just casually discussed around them. Or Yui, for example, like unless it's Bolingbroke related, just because I trust Yui because I used to work in DOC is not a reason to release secret information to Yui. I also trust Yui. Do I think Yui's gonna leak that? Oh my god, I'm very hungry.
Oh my god, the stress, it killed him.
My heart.
Yeah.
I'm getting old, guys. I'm 56.
All right.
Anyway, that's was not seeking that out in any way.
I think for the time being, suspended pending evaluation.
Okay.
I think we start there, and assess his reaction. If I'm going to be honest, oh shit.
Because he like I said, he's a workhorse and he's trying to do the right things, and I think I don't know if he's just overloaded or overwhelmed and like trying to vent out to people because he feels like he doesn't want to express that to us.
I'm going to be honest with you, but
be.
here's the thing. What is he? Look, he's done some good, right? He migrated SOPs. That was fantastic, right? I signed him to the archivist. Fine. But he will then nosedive into the faceless shit, right? And the moment we had a very good conversation here, but he shows up and wants to be like, "Whoa, Gunnar Kane, whoa. He's told me all these secrets that nobody else will ever know, but I've learned everything in 3 weeks. Let me explain how amazing I am." And it's just like, brother, I'm gonna put a gun in your fucking mouth and pull the trigger. Like, it's look, nice guy, but just transparently speaking, I don't think he has the chops. And this is just a ticking time bomb. I say suspension for a week, see how he operates. If he loses his mind, fine, right? LSPD, BCSO, I think are a better place for him to get trained up. It's becoming a pattern. This is the third day. It's just, I don't know. You know what I mean? Do any of us have the cycles to sort him out? Probably not. That's just the reality. And it sucks, but
It's like one of those I wish we did, but we're so hamstrung at the moment with all the different directions we're being pulled in. And I hope we get there to the point where we can, take the people who have the enthusiasm to drive the effort, the energy, and really get them focused up in the right spots.
Yeah. I mean, now
I don't want to be that,
but it's also a bit of common sense that you got to bring along with it too. Like,
I'm not opposed to after a week we decide to make him a rookie until he figures this shit out, because rookies are going to not have, in my opinion, access to everything. That's something that we've already discussed, right? And it makes sense. Rookies will not yet know what they're they're still in training, right? And I think that's really what it comes down to, is he still needs training, right? Specifically in the area of OPSEC.
mm-hmm.
Agreed.
You want to grab him, Peters?
Yeah. All right, so here's where I'm sort of at with things. I've heard what Blunt had to say, and I think the information that is coming is quite credible. Here's what we're gonna do, but I want to start by saying this. I do not like leaving people. Pushing people off the boat. Rather, if you are falling off the boat, I rather show you how to swim instead of drowning. Now, I think there's a lot of training you're going to need, McCallister, both in terms of how to properly communicate, how to properly interface with the other departments. I don't believe you've had that training. There may be a part of you that thinks you have gotten it already. I need you to get humbled, and humbled very goddamn quickly. Some of the influences that you may have had, some that may be in LSPD, BCSO, or wherever, you may have gotten training prior, that likely is not the standard that I am expecting. So as such, you're not going to be let go or anything like that. However, you are to be suspended for the next 7 days. In that time period, I want you to reflect over the last 3 weeks. What could you have done better? How could your conversations have gone differently? How could you have managed your time while on duty? Including but not limited to the amount of hours that you are spending clocked in on duty here in the Marshals. Because I do believe that some of that is affecting your judgment. At the end of that week, you are going to come back to us and you're going to explain to us what, why, where you went wrong, right? I want to, what may you have said? What are the things that you may have said? What are the wrongs that you may have done? I want you to self-reflect and provide us that report. So that we can walk away believing that you've understood these mistakes, right? Because if we tell you you did something wrong, that doesn't do anything. I want you to come back and tell us where you've gone astray. Upon returning, you'll be returning as a rookie. And we will be assessing and working with you to clean up some of these problem areas. All right. Now, obviously, you don't need to accept this, but that is ultimately, you know, we want to provide that avenue. So, how?
I mean, I think you're more than correct.
You mind speaking up?
There are. Sorry. I think that you're more than correct. I mean, as you've already touched on, there are some problematic areas in which I haven't fully addressed, and it's easy to just say that you've addressed them when someone provides you with the solutions to those problems. That's why I do respect the fact that you're not telling me everything, quite frankly. I'm going to try my best to reflect and figure out what I've said and what I've done. Frankly, I don't think I'm going to be able to remember every single minute detail. But I'm going to try to.
Okay.
In stating that, obviously you guys are gonna want to essentially boot camp me, I imagine.
Yes.
Is
that
it
is
okay
correct.
if I have a suggestion for
Sure.
that? Is there any chance that, you know, obviously I need to figure out my way amongst fellow people in the PD, fellow people in the DOJ. For a while there, I was able to manage because, quite frankly, there was always the big bad in the form of Gunner Kane. But now, you know, that doesn't exist. So, quite frankly, everything I do is under a spotlight, which makes sense, as it should be. I was wondering if there is any chance that, if that is the case, I have been doing this before, and like, I have been attending PD ride-alongs, whatever, but is there any chance that I can just, you know, when I come back, if it is deemed that I am okay, that I do begin doubling up with people in Shift 3? Just to establish that, like, baseline PD knowledge.
Doubling up with, sorry, the recommendation went right over my head.
So, is it okay if I start doubling up with experienced people, like I'm talking senior officers and above within the PD, so that I can establish that, I guess, command structure that you feel is missing in the way that I manage things?
I think we're going to be handling your boot camp.
Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, we, you know, I don't know who you have in mind, but who you have in mind may not be who we have in mind, right?
No, that makes logical sense.
Our standards and expectations may not be aligned. That's not to say we may just not know them, right? So, especially with the amount of marshals we have now, I'm sure we can find a way, but we'll evaluate that in a week's time. For the time being, please do put all your things into a locker. Leave your tablet, right? Your MDT. Throw it all in there. Your keys afterwards are to be given to Blunt. We'll return them to you in a week, pending that report. So a week comes on, that doesn't mean you come on duty. It's when I say you get on duty, not even Luca, whatever. I'm going to make that decision. And like I said, I want you to, like, it's not going to just be words. I want like it written down, right? Where were the pitfalls that you've been falling into? If you have specific examples, I want to see them. And then we'll verbalize it as well. Right.
All right. 2 more follow-up questions if you don't mind them. First off, am I allowed to talk to the affected people to, further contextualize these events? Like, I'm not going to ask you for those people's names, but am I allowed to reach out to those people if I believe them to be,
what does that mean?
So obviously, I'm not going to remember everything. Yui was specifically mentioned. I know I did have a few chats with Yui here and there. Am I able to go to Yui and ask?
No.
Okay, cool. And then secondary, for this specific report, do you want it written in a book or how do you want it written?
Google Doc is fine.
That works.
Okay.
Oh, and then sorry. Third question. Is anyone able to debrief with me just so I can catch them up on the stuff that I'm working on just to make sure that doesn't get, lost?
Yeah, what cases are you working right now?
Obviously, there's the entire archivist thing. I'm currently waiting on Elizabeth Gates and the state's IT department in order to do that. I will need to give someone the specific.
Let's use tomorrow. Let's have that debrief in writing.
I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be available tomorrow.
Okay, the day after is fine. I think a document maintaining that debrief is good. Plus, that's good for your report writing anyways. So
yeah,
most of this stuff has to be written anyways, so it's not, throw it into a report. We'll get it moved and then submit it to, one of the marshals and ask them to translate it into a marshal report.
All right.
Okay. All right. Who of you three are going to be around the next hour or so? Just so.
I'll be around.
Okay. Well, Blunt, if you can just help him make sure he gets all the stuff sorted. You can get started on that right now, McCallister. Blunt will be in contact. So just give him a call once you got all your stuff deposited.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. For sake of, not having to go through the motions of taking keys and all that kind of stuff, your access has been removed, right?
Okay.
So you might, if you see things, you don't see them. Make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
All right.
I do not have access to any marshals facilities for the next week. I
Correct.
Completely and entirely understand.
Easy. Do you have any, do you have a problem if we pull your phone records?
No, be my guest.
Okay, easy. Blunt will work with that on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Blunt
copy
will work
paste
with
my
that.
old contract.
Yeah.
Awesome. Feel free to actually pull the 30 and just send it to Blunt. I think that'll be easier.
Yeah.
Okay, easy. All right. I will see you in a week's time then.
I will see you guys as well.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I can make it back after storm, guys. So.
Oh fuck, we have 2 minutes.
Oh.
Chris.
Yeah, real quick. I'm gonna send you a document. It's called Crystal. It is
Easy.
There's a number in there. That is a report locker, not an incident locker, a report locker.
Understood. Send it to the send it to the other marshals as well.
Okay. What's your state at?
11:30.
All right, there you go.
Okay, easy.
And if I need to make a more obfuscated one, let me know.
Okay, awesome. All right. All right, gentlemen. I may not see you in 3 days. You got this.
All right.
I'm available via email. All right.
Yep.
Yes,
Same.
sir.
Have a good one.
Keep it held up.
I think I respect the fact that he's eating the humble pie. Tragic way to start your LOA? What do you mean? Yeah, he played